Hello guys, and welcome to a new Wargame video today by me, Vulcan. In this one, I'm going to be showing off to you a 10 versus 10 tactical on Mudfight. Now this is something that I was requested to play and therefore decided to give it a go. I'm not so much a fan of tactical. I like to have more units at my disposal than just a few. But I can see why people do enjoy this. It has a very much World in Conflict-esque sort of way to it, where people have to work together in order to make plays around the map. So in this one I'm going to be making use of mortars, and you'll see that people will be pinging me throughout the game to let me know where things are that they want mortared, and that was really awesome. That was something that I actually quite enjoyed, although I can't really see myself playing tactical much in the future. This was kind of just a one-off. I did play a game before this, but it wasn't as good. It ended pretty quickly. This one was actually very interesting and had a lot more teamwork going on. So another thing that I really liked was obviously people are writing down exactly what they're bringing in. So for example, Lionic over here is going to be bringing in a Patriot, and he's only going to have access to a Patriot for like the first half of the game because the income is set to low, so you don't have like as many points coming in. And I'm sure a lot of you who are watching this are well aware what tactical is, but personally I was completely unfamiliar with the game mode. I don't play it very often at all. I've only played like maybe 2 or 3 other games of tactical before this one, so that's since the game came out. I don't play tactical very much at all. So for example here, ERAE only has the automatic and the Eyehawk. He's going to be focusing on anti-air. I was going to be focusing on the mortars with my Leish mortars. I had a Israeli deck. I was going to go for mortars, and I also started to bring in Maglan squads later into the game, which basically act as both HGM squads and obviously recon. And the Leishes aren't the best mortars for me to be using because they only have 3 HE power, but they do fire relatively quickly, which can make them really nice to quickly volley down enemy infantry and so on. So at the start of the game, an Atacams is fired by our teammate, and just watch this. This is ridiculous. Like, the amount of planning that this takes, like being able to know, like with an Atacams, it only has 1 rocket. The second Atacams comes in as well, boom, more kills. Loads of APCs dead there. That's already given our team 330 points. Jackie there with his Atacams hitting a wonderful strike at the start of the game, already paying off his side of things. So that was a great start for our team, and I was actually pretty amazed at how accurate that shot was. By the way, an Akula in trouble against this Crotal. The Crotal is going to shoot down the Akula, so another player knocked out there pretty much. And now these AMX 10 RCs are going to be used to harass the APCs on the road. A lot of these are being taken out, and the infantry squad's going to die very quick inside them. Nighthawk being brought in by 1 player, and boom goes the mode shoots, and so already loads of teamwork happening. Somebody bringing in the Block 52D with the anti-radar missile to try and take out the Tor. The Tor was turned off just in time. I'm now mortaring this UAZ to push it out of Alpha. So yeah, on that right side, just at the start of the game, the amount of teamwork that occurred just from the offset was actually exceptional. It's Block 52 just about managing to get away from the Tor there before getting destroyed, but the AMX 10 RC going to finish the job onto that, and a lovely strike onto the Tor. So fantastic start. My mortars were just about to come in onto the Snezka, but that's fine. And well, my Leish is already providing a lot of pressure. Conker's squad was targeted on this left side. I had assumed that it had reached this sort of tree line because it was targeted in the centre there. I fire off the Leish, and I'm trying to get hit onto these Conkers. That's my teammates telling me that there is that Conker squad there, and well, so close to destroying that with the mortar strike. The second or 4th volley or whatever manages to actually kill off the Conker squads, and we're already making some of our opponents surrender at this point. Since they did lose like the majority of their forces, it did definitely leave us in a great position. I also saw this AA squad being placed in here, so I decided to try and mortar that as well. Now normally one volley of mortars can destroy like a two-man squad, but that HN5B got incredibly lucky there. Also putting some mortars onto the sissy, and that's the best thing about these leashes, their aim time is incredibly low, and they can just fire those volleys of 5 mortars apiece onto the infantry squads. Now my leash is continuing to move up on the right side. The Sheridan going to be opening up onto these BMP-1s. It's awesome to see these sort of odd units, the cheaper units in the game. Sheridan there able to use its HDGM. Now I'm also mortaring the HDGMs in this town, trying to stop them from firing onto my friendly Sheridan there. That was pretty much my job throughout the game, was just to keep cover onto the HDGMs with the mortars. We've already made a ton of ground now, so we are getting a lot of income. I'm mortaring both this area and this area at the same time. I was aiming at the basically corner of this compound, and the HDGM does eventually move in there, but the leashes do miss because it wasn't there originally. I'm just trying to keep up the fire onto the enemy infantry and so on. Do a nice amount of damage to the ZIL 157, and I'm also managing to pick off another one of those sissy. Sheridan's still firing away at the BMP-1. Now I'm using the Leish to take out the UAZ on the right side, though I believe it was my teammate who actually took that out with the Pheasant. He comes right round and takes out the BMP-1 as well. But since they don't really have any AA on the right side, the Tor being destroyed, and also like the KA-52 and so on, those aircraft basically can fly around freely for the majority of the game. It was quite amusing. But so far in this game we are 1,450 points to the enemy's 175. And well, if you think about this, this is like, what, 4 different players here probably, controlling all of these different units, which was really awesome to see. Spetsnaz VMF, supported by the tanks, do destroy the Commando's para. Do finally manage to take out the anti-air there after it did fire at the Fennec 20mm. Now I'm trying to mortar the Spetsnaz VMF as well. Stormer HVM going to go down to the BMP-3s on this left side, but Seahawks now being moved up with an ITO as well. They're going to try and get some Hellfire rockets onto these BMP-3s. But one of them goes down. The second one is going to get hit as well. Lovely strikes there. Now using my mortars to try and take out another ZIL. These are pretty much just trucks, but they are worth points to our team, so if I can destroy them with a mortar strike, it's definitely worth it. Buratino going to be brought in to take out the automatic that was sitting here, but this HGM squad that was hiding in the town here had already done the job. This helicopter's having a free time, hitting the T-72A as it retreats into the tree line, and so far our team's doing exceptionally well. Good teamwork, definitely secured the right side at the start. The attack from Jackie onto this corner here was just absolutely incredible. Now I'm just mortaring the ZAL. Trying to practice my forward firing mortars, see if I can hit it on the move. At that point I hadn't realised that the ZAL was actually going to move forwards, he's just kind of charging that towards me. Mortar's having a fun time though, not too much stopping them. Bringing in the mortar fire onto the BTR-50 there. I was aiming at that APC because I wasn't sure if in tactical people made the same mistake of leaving their APC right next to their infantry once they've unloaded. It does normally give away where the enemy infantry are, so just sort of scouting with my mortars on the right side, just giving it a bit of a guess. Also going to be attacking the Pansari Yakari in this compound as well with my mortar fire. And because there's no 5HE, they don't do a serious amount of damage, but they can definitely help target the morale of the Pansari Yakaris. So there was a defense marker put here just because we weren't sure if anything was going to be moving into that from the town. Aslav 25 is moved into that location, and I also have the first of my Hamers with the Maglan squads coming in. That Maglan just hopefully giving us recon on this right side, maybe allowing us to see more in the town. And we do spot the supply truck because of this, because of the recon from the Aslav 25. The Aslav 25 does get destroyed by the HGM carrier. Now I can basically freely blow up that supply vehicle and stop the HGM squad from being resupplied. Over on the right side, Commando's Para being used by Agent to take on the Pansari Yukari, supported by the AMX-10RC. It was a really interesting combo that was used here. The AMX-10RC basically being used in conjunction with Commando's Para to push onto the enemy infantry. I was trying to catch out these Formos in the open, which is why my mortar strike was landing behind the town. Looks like the Seahawk was trying to take out the T-72 M1M, and that was forced to retreat. So the AMX-10 surviving for another day. That T-72 could definitely destroy the AMX-10, no problem. And its AA was spotted on the left side, so I'm going to start mortaring that. And well, I targeted the marker where my teammate had said where they were, but as you can see, the opponent had already moved them back from that location to stop them being hit. There was a lot of that throughout this game where the mortars are actually incredibly hard to use because where the enemies don't have so many units to micromanage, they are always looking basically at their units, and therefore if you are just about to hit them with a mortar strike, they will dodge it, especially if they're in towns, for example. Trying to hit one of these squads in a town was incredibly hard. But eventually people do forget, and as you can see I did manage to get a bit of damage onto this HGM squad, but often you don't really try and hit the same place twice because they just move them, and therefore my Laciers were slowly moving up just so that I could remain in range of this town with the Laciers. Over on this side, Alicia's just still moving around all over the place, trying to just fire at everything I can see. This time round targeting the edge of the tree line just here, and also the Tunguska as it comes in. That Tunguska forced to move all over the place as my mortar fire comes in. Just as I'm starting to pin it down, in comes a Nighthawk to pave the way through the AA. With the mortar there going to be destroyed along with the supply vehicle. The Buratino is stunned as well in the process. So now somebody requiring the Atacams. Trying to get Jackie to fire on this position where the T-80UM is staying. If we can get a lovely kill there. It looks like Iona is going to be coming in with this HGM helicopter. And that is going to scare off the T-80UM and also the Buratino. We managed to take out the recon vehicle there, which was good. And there's a small distraction on the left side from one of our players with the AMX-13 BTTs taking fire from the ZTZ-85s. The Atacams was fired, but because the Buratino moved back, it doesn't actually hit its target correctly, I don't believe. does manage to get a nice strike onto the T80UM, but the attack that was supposed to hit the Buratino didn't hit its mark. I did have my teammate let me know that the Buratino was aiming towards me, so I did just make a run for it with the Maglan. Did not want that to get easily killed. Over on the right, still doing well. The MP1 did pick off one of my leashes as it snuck up through the tree line here. That was a bit unfortunate. But the Seahawk going to be brought in to pop that. For these sort of vehicles that do use like Hellfire missiles and stuff, like hit and run ATGMs, they did seem quite effective in the tactical game mode. Also, like these units like automatics, they have like so much versatility, especially when you can micro them effectively because you only have to worry about 2 automatics throughout the entire game. It was very interesting to see. So now the Buratino going to be firing away, and this is going straight for where my leashes were. Fortunately, because that Buratino was panicked, it basically made the arc of fire massive. The Thunderbolt is going to be brought in by Nuro, and he does manage to take out the ZTZ. The HQ-61 opening up alongside the PGZ-95, and the last missile going to be shooting down the Thunderbolt. So not so much of an efficient strike there. Also, the Thunderbolt actually crashes into the Track Rapier of Rikibum, which is quite amusing. Nearly lost that entirely. Now a strike coming in here. Nearly took out the T80UM whilst it's being repaired. But we didn't actually manage to destroy that, unfortunately. Now my Maglan moving towards the town here. They wanted some more recon information. There is already this Marine Jaeger here. I'm also moving forwards the Maglan to try and see if we can get any sneaky line of sight onto some of the infantry or even the APCs and so on there. You see my team was communicating about what they wanted to do, and now I'm being required for smoke. The Malaysians, I was taking them back because they were panicked and they needed ammunition, so I was going to like fast move them back to the FOB. But since my teammate did need smoke, I actually stopped them, brought them back so that I could provide that smoke fire with the remaining shells that I had left, and then I just decided to bring up a supply vehicle, the Oshkosh, to resupply the leashes and repair them instead. That was the plan, so smoke away, and I believe this was so that he could move up his commandos para without them being hit by all of the tanks and so on. But in comes the smoke. Honestly, because they were panicked, it was actually quite nice because the spread of smoke was quite large. Nighthawk does come in. That's a lovely bombing strike onto one of the AA pieces on the far left. The Nighthawk being another really good unit for this kind of game mode because there isn't an awful lot of AA, and if you just target AA every time with the Nighthawk, you're pretty much going to get away with it because the Nighthawk is, well, it has quite high stealth, so it doesn't get spotted for a very long time by anti-air, and so the time that it is seen generally isn't enough for the AA to do the damage. Either way, the smoke is brought in and does allow the commandos para to move forwards. Unfortunately, doesn't cover off the ATGM squad, which does get popped. Now my Maglan's able to move forwards, and with that Spike MR, trying to get a shot on target for this T55, but the ATGM Milan squad beats me to it. Fennec 20mm going to be shot down by the Tunguska, or they're going to try to. T72A there, going to be destroyed by the Thunderbolt. Just going to fly directly over the Tunguska, however the 52 has saved the day. Block 52D there with the 2 anti-radar missiles, killer Tunguska and the HQ-61, which was actually pretty incredible. Now I'm being asked to smoke the right side, ready for an attack by Riki. The Riki has these VAB T20s and a couple of Stormers here, and what he was planning to do was push into this town with my own smoke support. So he basically pings me to smoke. I bring up the mortars and smoke away. And basically create a big wall of smoke as best as I can. And that allows him to make his attack. Over on the right side, we've managed to get a bit of presence further up. The Commando's para there providing the recon alongside a BABT-20, which can provide some fire support. Delta is basically ours, so we're getting a lot more points than the opponents at the moment. Nighthawk is going to be brought in. And that's going to be trying to bomb this T-55. And an easy kill there. Also destroys a UAZ next to it, which was quite funny. Nice strike that time round. Buratino is lining up to fire once again. And there is still, of course, the T-80U in this tree line. Now the PHL-81 opening up with its 3 AP power cluster munitions. And this is going for a hit counter-RT onto my Laches. I didn't move them after the last mortar strike, so they managed to have time to get on target there, and unfortunately both of the Laches do get hit by multiple cluster munitions, one after the other, and do both die because of that, which was annoying. So that cluster munition did do quite a lot of damage to my mortars, but that was okay. I still had my Magland squad and the other spare mortar that I'm now bringing up. For using the smoke, Iona did manage to get some APCs into the town almost immediately. The Coyote on the right unfortunately gets picked off by the HGM on that side, which was unfortunate. But I do have my Lache here coming up, and that is going to start providing smoke on the far right side, although all of the infantry has already got in thanks to my initial smoke. I find it quite ironic that I'm the one providing the smoke support, since generally in my own games I always neglect smoke quite a lot. There we go, the smoke coming in, covering off against the HGM there, and that's just going to allow the Commando Marines, Royal Marines and also Stormers to push on through. An airstrike coming in to this HGM squad. And there we go. With all of that going on, my Magland squad was able to run across and get into this tree line. Now we're starting to really make some ground. So we've taken control of this town. They're going to be spreading out their infantry, of course. Over on this left side, I do still have my Magland squad alive, waiting there to do some damage. These JSDF Rangers are engaging Tanker Shashao with their DMR. And there's also now a Kaio Marushiki on the field, being the 23 AP power, 170 point Japanese tank. Gotta be careful that that doesn't get shot in the side armor by the Tanker Shashao. That would be rather tragic. But I do spot some Mojostrelki 90 here. The automatic does open up onto that infantry squad. And Magland actually gets the kill just as the automatic is hitting it. And therefore he didn't think it was dead. So he opens up with the other automatic onto that position. I pinged to say that that's actually dead already. You can see I have now brought up a Pera as well. This is the HGM carrier that is made to look like a tank. Has really high powered HGMs, 27 AP power with 2,975 meter range. Really good for this situation where you are covered by some quite heavy AA, for example the automatics and so on. A really nice shot from the Marder 1A3 there to actually side shot the Buratino. A brilliant job. My Magland squad has now moved up after dispatching of that Mojostrelki squad. Bomber coming in again on the backside of this tree line. Now just moving the Hamer in there to get the thing, but look at this. Magland squad straight into the side of the T-80, and I believe that player surrenders pretty much straight after he lost his tank. So that pretty much makes up for my play in this game. Side-shotting a T-80 with a Magland squad. That was pretty much my play, apart from obviously all of the mortar support, using the smoke there to help my team get into the town, and using the mortars like on the left here. You can see I've brought up a couple extra mortars to provide support onto infantry and so on. But in general, yeah, my team definitely did a great job working together on the right side to secure Alpha and Delta, and then this like whole coordination we had going on in the center and on the left was really, really good. And I'm going to assume that most tactical matches are actually quite one-sided, because in this case, well, this chap was trying to use cluster munitions onto infantry. Yeah, it doesn't work. I mean, he might kill this supply vehicle, which might in turn destroy some infantry, but other than that, he's not really going to get many points from using cluster munitions on infantry. And well, with that, a HDGM helicopter does come in, but the Marder 1A3s do beat them to killing the enemy artillery there. You have now the command vehicle retreating with the Tunguska M. Tunguska M going to be shooting down the Seahawk just before he gets away, and that's unfortunate for the Seahawk owner. But the Marder 1A3 is going to come in there and pick up the kill onto the Tunguska as well. So at this point, we're doing very, very well. And now we're just going to continue the push towards Echo. I've got my Para following up, as well as my Magland squads moving forward slowly but surely, getting my Laciers to move up, and they're going to be providing some mortar support onto the infantry in the town that are defending. So again, here go the mortars. They are kind of going to hit the mark. Trouble is, kind of need a direct hit with those mortars to be effective. Enemy strike does come in though and finish one of the Pansari Yukari squads off. My Lace was very close to doing it itself. I captured a couple of these supply vehicles, so I'm using one to repair and resupply my Magland squad. Trying to hit this Pansari Yukari squad. See how close this fire support here is. The Royal Marines 90. So close to actually being under my mortar fire, but that's okay. This F-100D comes in with its 70mm rockets and absolutely destroys the enemy unit. Now mortaring this BMP-1, panicking that, making that completely ineffective, and then the BTR-50 is going to be picked up by the Leopard 1A5. And now the Nighthawk going to be landing a bombing strike into the right forest. As the automatic comes up, that's doing relatively well, but the HGM, the Spike MR squad there, going to destroy the automatic. So my Maglands are now running up on this side. Panzer Grenadiers trying to make some ground in towards the Pansari Yukari. I'm now trying to mortar these Nostavaki as well. You can see I'm doing a little bit of damage to them, just so that we can allow these Panzer Grenadiers to get into the town, but unfortunately, Pansari Yukari are just a little bit too much with the support of the Nostavaki, and the Panzer Grenadiers are destroyed. So is the infantry squad. So I've left pretty open here, and now I'm just going to move up my Magland squad, supported by mortars, to hopefully take this town. The F-100D comes in there for a lovely pass onto the HGMs, and my mortars alongside the Magland help finish off the Nostavaki, so we're able to move the Magland squad into that town. All of my teammates follow me up. I've still got the mortars moving as we go. Wasn't exactly sure where the enemy were at this point, so I believe I just mortared this just in case that there was any infantry left on that side of the town. As soon as my Magland get in there, it's pretty much guaranteed there's nothing left here. Another one of the opponents surrenders, and it's pretty much game over at this point. We're just running down all of the command vehicles in the base, and we're getting some nice positioning towards their spawn, so that if they bring anything in, we just destroy it, and we go further towards victory. F-16A Fighting Falcon being brought in with the two 1,000 kilogram bombs. It's going to land close enough to the UAZ to do some damage, but it doesn't actually kill it off. The second one does, however, and actually does quite a lot of damage to the Sissy. MiG-29 912A being brought in, going to get shot down pretty much instantly thanks to the automatic. And now these F-100Ds, well, they have a field day, destroying enemy infantry and command vehicles that are come across. See the Sissy there going to be taken out by the F-100D as well. Just spreading out, find these command units. And the SAS do manage to find a command infantry there. I pretty much instantly target my mortars onto them in case they run away. And just before they die to the Lynx AH-1 and the SAS, my last mortar strike actually hits it directly and I kind of steal that kill. It's quite amusing. Anyway, I saw this UAZ running away over here, so I'm going to try and mortar that whilst the Marder 1A3s are doing the job. MiG-29M does come in and actually get a kill onto a freedom fighter, I believe that was. UAZ does get shaken by my mortar fire, and this command infantry is going to go down to the Kayomarishiki. Mortar fire continuing. Kind of fire above the Marders now, just to see if that's gone in that direction, but it's actually gone away from spawn entirely. Leopard 185 gets on target, and boom, we win the game. So after 29 minutes and 40 seconds, our team wins 4,895 kills to 2,100 losses. Battle staff doing a really good job there with the 965 kills. A lot of my players on my team actually did pretty damn good. Jackie with that lovely Etacams at the start was just fantastic. So there you have it, guys. 10v10 tactical on Mudfight. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Let's have a quick look at what sort of kills we got. Oh, I didn't have it from anyone's particular point of view, did I? So we can't look at the kills, but there we go. Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I don't do 10v10s very often, but I did it as part of a request. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Goodbye.